There are benefits to intermittent fasting that nobody talks about, and I wanted to make a video to share some of those with you today, especially if you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, you're a business owner, or you're just somebody who wants to get better results in life. I think what I'm going to show you today is really going to help you understand how intermittent fasting can help you get there. Now, we're not going to be talking about weight loss. Everybody knows that's what intermittent fast, that's what people do it for. They do it to lose weight. I lost 100 pounds doing intermittent fasting, and I've been able to keep it off for years. So that's a pretty cool thing. If you see me looking around, I literally almost just spilled my entire coffee. As I was talking with my hands, I hit the cup and it almost tipped over and spilled my coffee. And if you know anything about me, you know that's the last thing I want. I don't want to waste any of the coffee. So intermittent fasting, everybody knows that you do it to lose weight, but there are some hidden benefits or some other benefits that people generally don't talk about, and I don't know why. So I'm going to talk about those with you today. And then later today, I'm going to share with you the inconvenient truth about intermittent fasting, and it's going to be a hard talk, but it's something that you got to hear. The other thing that you might hear is a whole bunch of kids screaming because it is summertime as I record this, and the kids are home and they're right outside of that door playing with the dog, and I know you can hear that. So let's baseline this. Let's start with what intermittent fasting is. It's simply an eating schedule where you have a window of opportunity to eat. That's called your eating window, and then you have a fasting window. During your eating window, that's when you get your nutrition for the day. And during your fasting window, you don't eat, and you really seriously don't eat for that fasting window. The only thing that's permissible is water, which I always got a jug with me that I'm always drinking. I like to drink carbonated water. No flavor in that, none, zero, like Zippo in that. It's just carbonated water and black coffee. Same rules apply. No flavoring, no nothing, no splash of milk, no chunk of butter, or even 0 calorie whatever's in this. No, it's beans and hot water, ground beans and hot water. That's it. Coffee beans. You don't make coffee with ground black beans. That probably wouldn't be that good. Although I haven't tried it, so I don't know. So that's what intermittent fasting is. It's not a diet, it's just a way that you eat. It's really that simple. You just change the way you eat and you get the benefits from it. And there are lots of different methods for doing it. Some people eat regular 5 days a week, and then they spend 2 days a week with fasting. I don't do it that way, so I can't really speak about that. And there are other people who do, they'll fast for 18 hours and they'll eat for 6 hours. That's an 18-6 fasting regimen, and that's what a majority of people do, and that's what I used to do, and that's what helped me start the process of losing just about 100 pounds. But now I do 23, we'll call it 23-1, which most people know as 1 meal a day, where I fast for 23 hours and I eat for 1 hour. But the reality is I fast for about 23.5 hours, and then I eat for about 30 minutes a day. And that's it. Every day of the week, I only eat for about 30 minutes. I get all of my nutrition in those 30 minutes. We can talk about that in another video because that's pretty extreme for a lot of people, and that might be intimidating to hear. So don't worry about that. We'll get to that in another video. But you could do 18-6, 18 hours of fasting, 6 hours of eating. That's what most people do, and I did it, and it worked great, and it felt great. I just happen to really like the way I do it now. There's actually 1 day a week where I don't eat anything at all. I fast for 36 hours. But that's a topic for another video. So 1 meal a day, kind of already covered that. That's where you really only have 1 meal a day and you get all of your nutrition in that one meal. Now, it doesn't mean it's a free-for-all feeding frenzy. It just means sensibly, mindfully eat enough to satisfy you and to sustain your life. It's a whole lot fewer calories than you might think. One of the neatest things about 1 meal a day is the flexible timing. Now, you're only going to eat 1 meal a day, right? So you've got to figure out what meal that's going to be. By the way, if you noticed a video cut just there a second ago, it's because I had to break up a fight. It was pretty much a big brawl out there. But all is, the farm is calm, as they say. So you get to choose breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I choose dinner for a couple of reasons. I like to work hungry through my day. It feels better for me. I think more clearly. I always work a little bit better when I'm hungry. I don't know why, but I am, and I do. You might find the same for you. It did take me some time to figure that out. So if you try it the very first day and you just can't concentrate, or you're distracted because your stomach's rumbling, just give it some time. and see. I remember when I first started, it was very distracting, and I was just watching the clock, waiting for my eating window to open. But I don't really do that anymore. And I like being hungry, and I find that I work better when I'm hungry. You might find the same thing. I also like to eat one meal a day at dinner time because it gives me time to eat with the family, which is we do family dinner every night. And so I'm not sitting there with nothing on the plate, except for Saturday nights. But again, another video for that one. One of the keys with one meal a day is no snacking. Like, there's nothing for 23 or 23 and a half hours, like no snacks, no bite of anything, not even you're cooking something for somebody else in the family and you want to lick the spoon. No, you can't even do that. Like, this is serious stuff. If you want to get the benefits from this, it's probably a good time for me to bring up to you that I'm no expert in this. I'm just a dude who wanted to lose weight and failed a bunch of times at doing so. I hired nutritionists, I hired coaches, I hired fitness people, some of them through YouTube. And they gave me these plans that I followed with discipline, to the calorie, to the rep, to the exercise. I followed them exactly as they were given to me, and I ended up gaining weight on each of them. I tried 3 different ones, ended up gaining weight on each of them. And it was one day where one of those coaches, and I think, this is the hard part to even admit, but one of those coaches, I said, "Hey, dude, I'm gaining weight based on what you've given me." And he said, "Well, you must be cheating on the plan." And I wasn't. So was done with him at that point, and I discovered to figure this out on my own. And it took a lot of time to figure out, but I'm hoping that I can save you some time in doing that. So again, I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist or anything like that. I'm just somebody who failed a bunch of times trying to lose weight, ultimately found this, and it felt like a cheat code because it worked. But then I discovered all of these additional benefits. And that's the big focus right now, because I lost the weight and I've kept the weight off for years. So now I can look at the additional benefits and the reasons to keep doing this. So let's get into a little bit of science here. Let's talk about ketosis. You've probably heard that word before. Ketosis is when your body is burning fat for energy versus any other nutrient that might be in your body. So instead of using sugar or carbohydrates, your body is getting energy by burning fat. That releases something called ketones, and that's as sciencey as I'm going to get with you on it. The ketones are released into your body, and that's why it's called ketosis. Now, it happens at different times for everybody, but generally think about 12 hours of not eating. If you don't eat for 12 hours, that's when ketosis is about to begin. So now let's really get into the details here. How does ketosis affect the brain? Because that's what this is all about, and that's the most important part of this. So I did a bunch of research. I looked at places like UC Davis. I looked at the National Institute of Health and some other resources to collect this information. Here's what we found through experimentation. I didn't find this at all. I didn't do any of these experiments, except for on myself, by the way. But these places did experiments, and this is what they found. First, during ketosis, there are enzymes that are produced in your body that break down neurotoxins. These neurotoxins are then not entering your brain, which as a result protect your brain against cell loss and enhance your brain functioning. So right away, just by going into ketosis, UC Davis found that certain neurotoxins are prevented from entering the brain. Well, that sounds like a pretty good thing. The National Institute of Health studied and found that there were improvements in memory when the body was in ketosis, or eating a very low carb diet, which is what makes ketosis happen, for 6 to 12 weeks. So increase in memory, or memory improvement, by being in ketosis for an extended period of time, or regularly going into ketosis for an extended period of time. That's pretty cool. I like that. Enhanced brain function. The National Institute of Health found that a ketogenic diet, improved brain functioning overall, which I think is a great thing. So we're preventing neurotoxins from entering the brain. We are enhancing brain function. We are improving memory and ultimately improving focus as well. There was another study, which I didn't cite here, so pardon me for that, but the presence of ketones in the plasma in your brain. I think this comes from psychiatryonline.org, if I remember correctly when I was doing this research. So the presence of ketones in blood plasma in the brain when you're in ketosis appear to present significant potential for improving neuronal function. So the function of your neurons in the brain, so they can fire quicker, so you can think quicker, you can be more creative, come up with answers easier, see more clearly, which is really what it's all about. Also improvements in cell signaling and neurotransmitter functioning. So cell signaling in your brain, neurotransmitter functioning, boy, this sounds really sciencey, but let's simplify this. Your brain works better. Yeah, when you're in ketosis, your brain works better. Better memory, better brain functioning, no neurotoxins, nobody wants those anyways. Reduction in inflammation, mitigate oxidative stress, whatever that means, but that sounds pretty important, and toxicity, and enhance your neural network. So boosting your cognitive function. Why don't we just say that when you're in ketosis, the research seems to indicate that your brain works better and will continue to work better. So how does that give you better business outcomes as a solopreneur? Well, first, better decision making. Look, you're faced with making decisions every single day. You have to in your business. Better decision making will result in better outcomes, not just for you and for your business, but for your clients as well. In fact, it's one of the pillars in my Force Acceleration Mastermind, which is having greater impact on your clients. If you'd like a ton of ways to have better impact on your clients, you can just go to collab.proudy.me. That's where you can learn about my collaborative mastermind called Force Acceleration. It's ridiculously inexpensive, less than coffee. The reality is it's less than coffee, and it's going to help you grow your business in ways like you can't possibly imagine right now. The other benefits for your brain are increased productivity. If you can think more clearly, you can focus for longer periods of time, you can develop discipline, your productivity is going to go through the roof. And then additionally, focus is going to help you solve problems better and faster, more accurately, without having to rethink and rework and go back and solve the same problem over and over again. Now, I think you're smart enough to see how these three things are going to give you better business outcomes. So then the next question is, should solopreneurs or entrepreneurs or business owners, should they do intermittent fasting? I have no idea. I really don't. Like I said, I discovered this, kind of discovered it by accident when I couldn't find anything else that would help me lose weight. And then I found all of these other benefits to doing intermittent fasting. Will it work for you? Maybe, but you're an adult. So you've got to make an adult decision and you've got to go test. You've got to try this out and see if it works. Now, I showed you earlier, some of the data says it might take 6 to 12 weeks before you start to see results. Do you have that kind of discipline? I don't know if you do. I hope you do. I know the people in my mastermind do, and a lot of the people in Force Acceleration have just started doing intermittent fasting, and they're losing weight, and they're feeling better, and they're exercising, and they're getting better business outcomes. And if that sounds like something that you would like, well, that's why I put that link on the screen, so you can go check that out and get the scoop on what that collaborative mastermind is. Again, ridiculously inexpensive for what you get and the outcomes that you're going to get from it. Can't even describe them to you. You'll love it. You're just going to love it. So I don't know if you should do this or not. I think you should try it. But again, you're a unique individual. Do you have the discipline to do it? Could you go 23 and a half hours without having a snack? I know I can. And I have for a long period of time. And it has had a tremendous impact on me, my life, my physical fitness, my focus, my business, my relationships. Everything got better in doing this. I hope it does the same thing for you, but you've got to find out. It worked for me, and when I say it worked like magic, I remember sitting here having a conversation with people saying, I feel like I found a cheat code for business, for life, for health, for fitness, for everything. And it might work for you, but it might not, because you might not be able to resist the temptation. Even if you're doing 18-6, you might have a snack. And then that undoes all of the benefits. You'll never see the benefits if you don't have the discipline to follow the plan. So you've got to ask yourself, am I disciplined enough to do this? If you are, great, give it a try. If you're not, great. Come on into the mastermind here and let me show you how to have that level of discipline so that you can do it and you can get those outcomes. So here's how to know if it will work for you. Are you a disciplined person? Or are you so unfocused that everything distracts you and you get bored, and when you get bored, you want to have a snack? Are you the kind of person who can cook something for somebody else at 20 hours of not eating and not lick the spoon and just take that spoon and go and throw it in the sink? Because that's what I have to do, because I cook for my family. I cook dinner for my family. But if my eating window isn't open, I'm not even tasting. Even a taste. Right? Can't even do that. So here's how to know if it'll work for you. Do you have that level of discipline? Most people don't. That's the reality. Most people don't. So if you do, let's give it a try. If you don't, I can help you get there. And just go here, get the scoop on the mastermind. It's part of what we do is make sure that you have a healthy life so that you can have a profitable business that has impact on your clients. Right? So there you go. That's how to know if it'll work for you. So how to start intermittent fasting if you feel like you're going to start? First of all, you got to give yourself a little bit of grace. You got to forgive yourself if you trip up at the beginning. I know I did, but once I got rolling with it, everything worked beautifully. But the first thing is you got to talk to a doctor, and the doctor's going to say, no, you shouldn't do this. I don't know why, but that's what doctors are going to tell you. That's what they told me. And I'm not sure why a doctor would want to do it. Maybe your doctor won't. I found a doctor that completely supports it, and he's incredible. Happens to be a Eastern type doctor instead of Western medicine, but he fully supports it, and it has worked. Like I said, it's worked like magic. So go talk to a doctor, let them say no, and then become an adult and make an adult decision on your own and decide if you're going to try this. Start simply. Try 12 hours of not eating and 12 hours of eating. That's pretty easy to do. Stop eating at 7 p.m. Don't eat breakfast until 7 a.m. And then ease your way into 14-10, where you fast for 14 hours and eat for 10. Try that for a couple of weeks. Then move yourself to 16-8, where you fast for 16 hours, eat for 8 hours. So that could be you eat from 12 o'clock until 8 o'clock, noon until 8 p.m., and then you don't eat from 8 p.m. until noon the next day. Can do that, and make sure you're drink your coffee and drinking your water or your tea. You could do tea as well, and if you don't want to do either of those, just drink water. Very simple. Then after you do 16-8 for a while, give one meal a day a try. I will tell you again, totally by accident, that I discovered one meal a day. It's a longer story. I'll share it for my one meal a day video. It's a pretty interesting story how I discovered it by accident, and I'd love to share that with you. What's so cool about all of this for me is I discovered it for myself, kind of by accident, and it worked when nothing else worked. When nothing else was working, everything else failed for me, but this worked for me. And then a couple of people I talked to, they started trying it. It worked for them in the same way. And then some other people tried it. It worked for them in the same way. And then I brought it into my mastermind. Now, my mastermind is about growing a business for solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. That's really what it's about, making more money, having more impact, and having fun. But we talk about this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking about one of my best members of that mastermind is she's out in LA. She started doing it, instantly started feeling better. Another one down in Miami. He did it last year, lost a bunch of weight his very first month, and has continued to do it to feel great and perform better in his business. So if that sounds like the kind of group that you'd like to chill out with and grow your business, because that's really what we do. We chill out and grow businesses. Just go here. Just go there and check it out. So finally, the inconvenient truth about intermittent fasting. It's hard. It's really hard. I've been doing it for years. It's still hard. As I'm recording this, it's midday. I'm not going to eat for another 6 hours, and my stomach is rumbling. I don't think my microphone is going to pick up on it, but my stomach's been rumbling. That can get distracting. And you have to develop the mindset that it's okay to be hungry, because we're trained from early on that you shouldn't ever be hungry. And you feel hungry, go eat something. You feel hungry, go eat something. Well, that's not serving you. It's okay to be hungry. And I reframe hunger as my body doing the things it should be doing to keep me healthy and to keep my brain healthy. Because now that I've lost the weight and kept off the weight, almost 100 pounds, 260 to 163, thereabouts, now that I've lost that weight and kept that weight off, it's the brain benefits that keep me doing this, because it feels so good to be able to think so clearly all the time. And I hope you find the same thing.